a lot of people are upset you didn't talk about the knee injury of Ngannou. Why didn't you guys talk about it? I go, because it didn't matter as far as you didn't know it before, and it's only what you're going off of. I go, he performed like he would have if his knee was absolutely fine.
Yeah, I agree.
There was no difference.
He may have kicked a little bit more.
Maybe.
But he did kick. He may have kicked a little bit more.
It had nothing to do with his stand-up and him missing punches.
No, it had nothing.
Sorry.
He was loading up. He was throwing aggressively, was missing shots. The speed of Ngannou was faster than him. Like, he understood that, like, he needed to not – he was reaching every which way in every direction and missing left and right. That had nothing to do with it. And the other thing, you guys, when I fought Gil the third time, I had a torn PCL and a strain in my MCL and ACL. All three of them. So I had a torn PCL, and I still fought, still kicked, still did. Like, look, if you can get through a little bit of training, right, and you understand, I'm just going to take this risk. Whatever happens after that, it's on you. If you didn't fight to your ability, that's fine. But I'm not going to sit up here and make excuses for him. He chose to take the fight. Yeah. Okay, like, and that's the thing. I'm not here to gas him up. I'm not here to like make him out. So in this fight, he did not perform well. Whether his knee was torn or not, it wasn't the Francis that we are used to and accustomed to seeing. And the same thing with Ngannou. I think a little bit of the pressure got to him. He started to fold a little bit. He didn't expect Francis to wrestle the way that he did. And I don't think he expected Francis to be so good and dominant in terms of the top position. Francis was getting in mounts, not holding it too long, but getting to the back, doing all the things that Ngannou just wasn't doing properly from his back. But overall, that's what probably was the shocker for the fight. But the fight itself was not a good fight. I'm not going to sit up here and tell you guys that it was. I know John's over here going, it wasn't.
I didn't think it was bad.
Okay. I mean, we can agree to disagree on that.
But this is the whole point of what you're bringing up, because I didn't think it was a bad fight. In fact, I thought it was fairly interesting, especially the fact that a guy like Francis Ngannou, who had one submission victory, I was the referee for that fight. All of a sudden, he's turned into a wrestler. He's turned into a grappler, because that was his road to victory, and it was smart. And when you see a guy sit there and go away from what is his bread and butter to something that you don't expect, that's intriguing to me. And it shows some fight IQ. Yeah. It shows a lot of things about, hey, this guy's willing to get out of his comfort zone and do the things necessary to get the win. So I did enjoy it, but this is the whole fact of, look, no matter what you say, I always say 50% of the people wanted Ngannou, 50% want Cyril Gane. And all the ones that wanted Cyril Gane hate you for what you say. You know, okay, yeah. If you're a referee, they hate you because you made Cyril Gane lose. No, you didn't. But they're going to say you did. It's just, I don't worry about those things. If you like what I say, great. If you don't like what I say, great. It has nothing to do with the fact that I work for Bellator or you work for Bellator. Yeah. I don't talk about things in that fashion. I love fights, and when I talk about these fighters, I try to talk about them with the utmost in respect. Mm-hmm. But I try to be honest, and you can't make everybody happy when you're being honest.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and that's the biggest thing is when you are telling the truth, you're going to piss people off.
Sure, at times.
And this has nothing to do with Bellator, and this has nothing to do with even the UFC. This has to do with the fight that happened and played out right in front of me. I agree with you on the fact that Francis showed a very high fight IQ. I give a lot of credit to his corner, Eric Nipsick, on making the adjustments and that he needed to make sure he got the win. Because like you said, and like we had said, that he was probably down 2-0 going into that third round, and he needed to make something happen. And he made a lot of adjustments. And look, I don't need to see every fight as a knockout, but let's be honest. He was swinging and missing. He didn't look good, and you can blame it on his knee all you want, but his accuracy, his loading up, and his aggression, they weren't on point. He was missing everything. He didn't look good. He was really loading up to the point where everything looked sloppy. That's not the need. That's just the fact that that's what he was doing.
He's having a hard time finding him.
Yep.
Which is what makes Cyril Gane who he is, because he is outstanding at controlling the distance.
He is outstanding at controlling the distance. In this fight, though, Francis didn't do enough to where Cyril Gane could capitalize on stuff. And he is even though Ngannou is still he possesses the power that Gane had to respect him so much that he was throwing one shot and running. In past fights, he would throw 2 and 3 shots and then move, 2 and 3 shots and then move. It's a difference in opponent. And I get that that's the way that the fight game works. I understand. There's plenty of guys that I've fought. They were like, you had to respect their power because you understood one shot and it could be over. So if you go back and watch my last fight I ever had against Patricky, it was 1-2 shots and get the hell out of there because he possessed the power that he possesses. So there's fighters out there that you understand that's the way you got to fight him. And with Gane, it was a very similar fight. But the thing is, one shot and then waiting 30 seconds, 45 seconds, then throwing again. That's what my complaint was in overall in terms of the fight. Has nothing to do with anything else outside of the fact that all 4 fighters in the co-main and the main did not live up to the potential of the fight that they were involved in. Now I gassed up whatever the kid's name was, Henry. That kid was absolutely phenomenal.
Oh, Victor Henry.
Just absolutely phenomenal. Yeah. What a great fight. And then even his opponent, they just had a great fight back and forth, and Henry just was a notch ahead of him slightly. But those are the kind of fights that you want to be involved in, and that I have no problem giving everybody credit for. But when it comes down to it, you cannot be somebody that has this platform that we have and sit here and go, every single time it was a great fight, because you're lying to people, and that's not going to happen.
No, what we've got to do is we got to make sure that you stop reading comments.
I can't stop, man. I like to know if we have weaknesses and flaws in our game and what we're doing. I want to read it and I even sometimes want to touch on it. But I just find it funny that everybody seems to go right back to, oh, it's because you work for Bellator. No. I don't have a hard time. And I've done this. If you guys go back and listen to some of our shows, I've ridden some of our guys, especially a lot of our guys, where this is their opportunity to put on a big show when they get onto the bigger platform, or they make the main card and they lay a goose egg. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? And I'll ride those people too, because they listen to our show as well. The fighters listen to us. I get DMs from fighters all the time. You're absolutely right. I understand what you're saying. You were right. Like that makes me feel a lot better.
Oh, we get those all the time from guys.
I get
going,
them all the time.
Man, I didn't like hearing what you said, but when I thought about it, you were right, and I'm going to make that change. Oh, okay. I don't say it because I want to be a dick.
Yeah, I don't want to be a dick, man.
It's the truth.
I'm not trying to be. Look, I'll go back to Islam Mamedov when he fought Brent Primus. I thought Primus beat him because he was aggressive, had more attacks. But I also, Mamedov is a teammate of mine, and so I've trained with him a lot. He's a great guy. Mm-hmm. But in that fight, I feel like he was defending the whole time. You guys go back and watch that fight. Brent Primus.
Because it really wasn't that good.
It wasn't a good fight. It wasn't a good fight.
Just didn't do enough offense.
He didn't do enough offense, and so he was defending submission after submission after submission. I thought Brent Primus won the fight. Now, in that being said, I didn't give a shit who won because I don't have any skin in the game. But then on top of it, both fighters could have done more to have a better performance. Brent Primus could have got his ass up off the ground and could have worked the striking because he was having success with striking. Mamedov could have done more ground and pound instead of just trying to control the top position and defending submissions. And so I rode both of those fighters aggressively on that next show that we had. And I said, because I know how good Mamedov is. He's phenomenal. I believe he hasn't lost in 10 years, over a decade. He hasn't lost.
Was he 20-1?
Yeah, something like that. He's 21. He's phenomenal. Like I said, I've trained with him. I understand how good he is and what he is capable of. And so I will say things like that. And Brent Primus, I've seen him fight numerous times against top level talent. And some nights he comes out and just doesn't do the job. He doesn't listen to his coaches, doesn't make the adjustments as the fight goes on. And I've said about him on this. I say it to his face also after that fight with Mamedov and also his fight with Chandler. I gave him the same thing whenever he came up to me and said, what did you think? I said, these were your mistakes, and I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to tell you exactly how it is. Maybe that's why they call me the punk, and I'm okay with it. But you know what? When it comes down to having a conversation with the fighter, this is the hurt business, and they need to hear the truth. And they need to understand that, and they do understand. That's the thing. They do understand that I'm not trying to hurt their feelings. I'm trying to tell them that, hey, if you did a little bit of this, you tweaked it a little bit this way, or just focused on this one thing, you probably would have got the win, or you would have taken less damage.